positions and plans for the future. The effects of the psychiatric disability on all of the healthy members of the family are evident in two ways: the objective burden and the subjective burden. The objective burden relates to coping with the manifestations of the illness itself, such as the behavior of the patient, the family's coping with the mental health system, economical problems resulting from the illness, and the disturbance to the family and household routine. The subjective burden relates to the emotional implication of the sickness for the healthy family member, such as fear, anxiety, anger, helplessness, pain, sorrow and sadness, loss, envy, shame and guilt, together with love, concern, empathy, and identification. From various studies conducted among healthy siblings of the psychiatric disabled, it is evident that they report both the objective burden and a heavy subjective burden. The data from these studies indicate difficult emotions among the healthy siblings. First of all, the siblings report a feeling of guilt, affecting the ability of the healthy sibling to move on and live his life, while the sick sibling remains stuck with his illness. This feeling is referred to as survivor's guilt. Similarly, survivor's guilt affects the ability to experience life's difficulties, since compared with the difficulty that their sick sibling confronts, even the major crises in life are relegated to insignificance. Thus, the legitimacy of suffering and experiencing difficulties is taken from the healthy sibling. This is likely to produce anger. Guilt is also likely to arise in relation to the healthy sibling's contribution to the illness. What did I do that caused my sibling to be sick? And with regard to the feeling that not enough is being done to help the sick sibling. Feelings of loss and mourning arise with respect to the sibling that they might have had, as well as mourning over normative sibling relations. Healthy siblings report that having been preoccupied with coping with their sibling's illness, they felt that they lost their childhood and their innocence, and they mourn over them. Likewise, they feel that they have been abandoned by their parents, who invest their time and energy in treating their sick child, which may lead to envy. Often, the investment of the parents in the sick siblings results in the healthy sibling concealing his real needs and refraining from expressing his feelings in order not to be an added burden to the parents. These siblings assume the role of the healthy and the good sibling, making greater efforts and striving to excel, sometimes attempting to compensate in other areas of life, like studies or work. Another effect of the psychiatric disability on the healthy siblings is the loss of limits and distortion of roles, turning the healthy siblings into parental children as caregiver and partners to the secret with their parents. Secrets and secretiveness lead to a sense of loneliness and contribute to social isolation. The social stigma and the shame force most of the healthy siblings to hide the issue of their siblings' illness. Hiding the sickness is also connected to loyalty to the sibling and the lack of clarity regarding what this sibling would wish his brothers to tell about him. This matter results in the loosening and reduction of social ties. Telling is forbidden, inviting others to your home is forbidden. Occasionally, the healthy siblings have to lie or practice avoidance. Likewise, the healthy siblings experience fear of rejection and difficulty in trusting others. Coping with the psychiatric disability by the healthy siblings also creates fear, especially in facing the lack of certainty inherent to the sickness, the manner and the timing of the next outbreak. The fact that psychiatric disability may have a genetic basis also raises fears that might become affected by the disease and even transmit it to their offspring. The fear of establishing a family is also connected to the sense of a heavy burden and the feeling that they may not be able to cope with an additional burden in the form of children of their own. The fear is also related to the uncertainty regarding the future and the role awaiting the healthy sibling when his parents will no longer be alive. The feeling that the healthy sibling will remain the only primary caregiver for a sick sibling is a deterrent which overwhelms and raises serious concerns. In this sense, the psychiatric disability affects the general dynamic in the family with a lot of tension developed between the healthy siblings who take part in the caregiving and those who have opted to distance themselves. In this context, it is noteworthy that society takes for granted that it is the parent's obligation to take care of their sick child. Alternatively, the obligation of the healthy sibling is vague and unclear and often perceived as a voluntary matter. This vagueness may be beneficial for some siblings who will use this to justify their choice of distancing themselves and their lack of involvement in the life of their sick brother or sister. However, this may be an hindrance of other healthy siblings that will intensify their sense of confusion and their internal conflicts with respect to their obligations to their sick siblings. The objective burden placed on the shoulders of the healthy siblings is evident in the resources that they have to invest as caregivers for their sick sibling, which complicates their ability to invest in other areas of their own life, such as studies, work, and personal relationships. Likewise, coping with the sibling's illness results in a feeling of loss of freedom and privacy derived from the behavior of the sick sibling, which can defy emotional and physical limits. He can be demanding in relation to his healthy sibling's life, actively and purposefully interfering with his life. For example, multiple telephone calls, many surprise visits, etc. One can see that the psychiatric disability of one sibling affects all members of the family, including the healthy siblings who suffer in many areas of their lives as a result of coping with the situation. Appropriate care for siblings has to address the components of the damage as a whole, both subjective and objective, in order to try to mitigate the process of coping and to improve their personal feeling of well-being.
Thank you, Rivka. Now, צריך שם הפסקה? אז